Oh my gosh, the response from last video was absolutely incredible. I was not expecting that video to do so well. Thank you everyone for the support, I appreciate it so much. Seeing all of your comments and suggestions made me so happy that there are other people that love my concept of a game. I've honestly been struggling these past few months with motivation and trying to find a reason to work on Dreamscape, but after my last video performed so well, I can't wait to keep developing this game. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave those in the comments. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into development. There are so many things that I want to do in this devlog, so let's start with the easiest, simplest, and least infuriating thing. Yep, that's right, we're adding a new enemy. This area of the game is going to lead into the first boss, so the enemies will naturally be themed around that boss. Now, one of my goals with these devlogs is to not spoil major parts of the game, so I'm not going to talk too much about this area and the boss that's in it. For now, just know that this dude is a teddy bear. Yeah, he doesn't look like one at the moment, but he will eventually, don't worry. I made this concept sprite a while ago, and I think it works pretty well. I started by copying all of the code from the rolling enemy into this new one, which served as a pretty good base. The new enemy will have two main attacks. First, they will be able to charge forwards with their spear, and once they reach the end, they will swing the spear behind them. I'm hoping it's not too hard that players struggle to beat it, but it's not too easy that it doesn't provide a decent challenge. This guy is kinda dumb at the moment, so let's fix up his AI.
8 hours later.
That honestly took way longer than I expected, but there we go. The enemy can now dash towards the player and then slash behind him. Cool. Let's give him a proper texture as well to replace the template, and boom, there we go. I'm going to update all the animations for the next devlog to include a proper walk cycle and cleaner animations, but for now this works really well. Now, seeing as this episode is about enemies, I might as well add another one. I had an idea a while ago where you could have a flying bear that's holding onto a balloon. The bear will then slowly fly towards the player, and then when it's above the player, it'll let go of the balloons and drop down onto the player. I got most of my inspiration from an animal here in Australia called a drop bear. They sit high up in trees, and when their prey walk underneath them, they'll drop down and catch them. I know, they're terrifying. I've had some encounters with them myself, and trust me, they're not fun. Anyway, let's start work on these bears. Just like the native Australian animal, I think I'm also going to call these ones drop bears, seeing as well, they drop. Yeah, that wasn't a very creative name, but oh well, it works. I spent about 20 minutes trying to get this bear to look right, and I couldn't figure out what I didn't like about it. But he's super cute, so I don't care. This bear might actually be a little bit more challenging to make than the other one, because he has more actions than simply idling and attacking. Thankfully, by making use of state machines, it'll make the process way easier. If you don't know what a state machine is, I'll give you a basic rundown. Essentially, it's a system that lets characters in the game, whether that's enemies or the player, switch between different states, with each state having a different functionality. For example, the previous enemy we made had 5 states: idle, shocked, charging, backslashing, and stopping. Each state represents a different action that the enemy does. So when its state is charging, that's when it's, well, charging. State machines come in real handy when designing enemies and especially bosses. So for this new enemy, it's going to have 4 states: flying, falling, walking, and lunging. First, it will start off holding a balloon and hovering in the air until the player walks underneath it. Then it will fall down until it hits the ground. Then, once it's on the ground, it'll start walking around and look for the player. Once it's found the player, it will lunge towards the player and attack them. Starting to see how useful state machines can be now? There are multiple ways of doing them that I've found online. Some people suggest doing a node-based state machine, which I haven't really looked into too much. For my enemies, I'm just going to have a variable that changes the state depending on what the enemy is doing. I might look into other ways in the future, but for now I'm happy with this. It surprisingly didn't take me as long as I thought it would to make these drop bears. I figured that because there was so much involved it would take much longer, but thanks to state machines, once again, it was fairly simple. Just had to adjust some values and settings for them, and there we go, the drop bear has been made. Now, that's going to be all for this devlog, unfortunately. I've been extremely busy with work, so that's left me with not a lot of time to work on Dreamscape. But don't worry, I'm hoping to set aside more time to work on it, which hopefully means that future videos will be longer. Thank you all for sticking around and watching me work on this game. Have a great day or night, depending on what time it is for you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!